Good morning. Good morning. It is 2:58 a.m. and I am on my way to the gym right now. I remember last night when I had got home, I told my wife, I was like, man, I said, it feels like I've had a long day, but I didn't really do too much. Like I didn't get a whole lot accomplished. And she just kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? And I said, I just feel like I'm trying to do way too much. And that sounds kind of weird coming from me, because I'm one of those people who is like, if you want a lot out of life, you got to learn how to do a whole lot. But as I was talking to her, I get that spirit gets to talking to me. The spirit was telling me, you ain't doing too much. You just doing too much of the wrong thing. And I was sitting there thinking about what was going on. And I had been thinking about, like, I walk around with 2 journals, a Holy Bible, and the book that I'm reading for that at that moment. Like right now, I'm digging into this Powernomics book. So, and then I have a 12-week target. So I got a 12-week target that requires me to mark in there what I'm doing every single day. What have I accomplished? I have another journal where I keep a track of all my expenses. So I put my income in there along with my expenses, what I spend every single day. So every time I spend something, I write in it. Then I have my journal. My journal is what I just kind of journal in. I talk to, I spill my guts in, and that's what I do with that. And then you got the Bible. The living life, the living word. Then I got my computer, my laptop has everything inside of it. I got 3 hard drives, with billions of terabytes of space. We got folders, papers. Then I'm the head coach of my son's team, so I have to keep up with all the parents. Now, mind you, what I'm saying might sound like I'm complaining, but I'm just giving you an outline of what it is that my day looks like. Then I run a full-time business. With a transaction coordinator, title companies, lenders, clients, different real estate transactions. Then I have my wife, my kids, taking care of the bills, getting to the grocery store, a given day. So I tell my wife, I say, man, it feels like I got a lot I'm doing, but I'm not accomplishing a whole lot. And then the spirit came to me. He says, yeah, you got a lot, but most of what you're doing, you don't need to do. See, on your actual list of things that you have to do in a given day, there's only a couple of them that are really important. That are really necessary. The Spirit came to me and said, you're focusing more on the B and the C projects than you are the A's, because there's more of them. You're overwhelmed with the wrong things. You're not organized. Why do you have so many books in your hand? What are you? A school teacher? A student? So at that moment, he said, read your word. Just keep it at home. And when you're at home, instead of watching TV, read read your word. Just read your book. Understand economics. But read it at home. Instead of watching TV, read at home. Make time for your kids. Play with your kids. Give them the time that they need. Give your wife the time that she needs. But understand that you have a responsibility to your family. You are the head of this house. You must make sacrifices where others do not. Meaning they can afford to play longer than you. You cannot. Respect the fact of who you are, what you've been called to do. Just bring what you need with you. You don't need to carry everything with you. It creates an urgency where there is none. And then the last thing that the Spirit put on me, and I always say the Spirit, I say because there's something always talking to you that's really nudging you in the right direction. But most of the time, the world is so loud, we always, if it ain't a human being or 10 of them giving us their advice or their opinion, then we disregard it as nothing. It's something. So the last thing that was put on my heart pay attention to how you're using your time. Your utilization of time mixed it with the fact that you're focusing on a bunch of B projects means that you're doing a whole bunch of nothing and getting nowhere. Now, understand something. I'm breaking records. I'm doing better than I have in any other year in my business, in my relationship with my family, with my wife, with my kids. But that's right at the same point where you need to watch and make sure that you're not making the wrong decisions. That you stay on course, stay focused. So I get up this morning and this is the book. This is the book that I use to keep all my finances in. This is my ledger. I keep it around me because I want to make sure that I'm being obedient to putting the things inside of it. I'll leave that in the car. I didn't pick up my word and bring it with me. I read it yesterday. Matter of fact, I read it to Sanaya. I didn't bring my Powernomics book. See, there's such thing as doing too much, and then there's such thing as trying to do too much. And it's that trying part that gets you in trouble. Because when you try to do too much, you end up doing nothing and making no progress. And I kept thinking, I was like, maybe the last 2 or 3 days, I'd catch myself in these burnout moments. I mean, like, I know what my job is, and just kind of looking at my phone like, not today. And some of that was an accumulation of taking on things that were not in my area of expertise, not in my area of excellence. And when you take on things that are not in your area of excellence, I'm not saying you should shy or back down from learning something new. But when your plate is full already, That's not the time to take on things that you don't necessarily have a full understanding about. Pride and ego gets in the way and says, I can handle that too. I'll learn that. I was taking on some land of, 34 acres in Apache County. I don't even know where Apache County is. And then sure enough, the moment I found somebody else, another agent in that part of town or that part of the valley or that part of the state that could handle that, I felt a little better. When I left the extra reading material, study material at home, felt a little bit better. When I started identifying what was important and what needed my time, focus, and energy, felt a little better. It's easy to get misplaced and confused doing a lot with being productive. And as I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, you're focusing on the wrong things. That's why you're tired. You're taking on things you have no business taking on. Outsource them. Then later on, the Spirit talks to me and says, you're not utilizing the time that you have right. Too much YouTube videos. Too much daydreaming. Too much fantasy. And I gotta be honest, I mean, too much fantasy. Reality has been pretty good to me. But fantasy is sometimes the best way to escape. Especially when the devil doesn't want you to make any progress. He'll present fantasy real quick. But at the end of the day, just gotta stay focused. When you start getting burnt out, when you start feeling like you want to quit, that should be the exact same moment where you start questioning what's changed in my life that has me feeling like this isn't worth it anymore. And I guarantee it won't be the thing that you love that's creating the trauma or the chaos in your life. It's the things that you are taking on that you have no business dealing with. And I'm telling you, last 2 days, I'm sitting there like, well, it was the weekend and then the last 2 days, I'm sitting there thinking like, I know I'm supposed to do that, but I don't want to do that because then I got to go do this whole other list of things. And I start looking at it saying, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Just say no. I can't do it. And get back to doing what you love. And just say no, I can't do it. That's simple.